What would 100 shares of Hershey look like over a 20-year period? A dividend investing strategy. I'll tell you what, if you're curious about the financial health and future of Hershey, then watch my video about Hershey on the YouTube channel. You'll learn why I personally believe that Hershey is undervalued and why I'm so bullish. And here's the kicker. I don't even eat chocolate or candy because at the end of the day, I'm a fitness freak. Not that I like to look at my naked body in the mirror after a shower, but it's cool to be able to fit into the same clothes that I wore back in college over 15 years ago. And call me weird, but some of my jackets and shirts have sentimental value to me. Where I do draw the line is underwear. I try to refresh on those every couple years. I am not that gross, okay? Let's look at the high-level numbers for Hershey and what we are working with. So the current dividend yield is give or take 2.8%, which means for every share of Hershey that you own, you get $5.48 a share in dividends. Their dividend growth rate is about 12%, meaning that this payout should be growing at a rate of 12% year over year. And they have been increasing their dividend payment for the past 15 years. Not only that, just look at their revenue from 2015 to last year. What a pretty picture. This is in billions, by the way. It just boggles my butt crack to know that a candy company generates $11.1 billion in revenue. How much would this cost? Well, if you were to buy 100 shares of Hershey, which trades for about $194.50 a share, then it would be $19,450. It sounds like a lot up front, but wait until you see the forecasted results. And by the way, for that exact same lump sum amount of money, you could put your kid through a year at William and Mary, which is one of the oldest colleges in the US. Well, sort of. That only covers the in-state tuition. You still have thousands of dollars in other related fees when you think about housing, food, the textbooks, and the laptop, and everything else that goes along with the college experience. I just think it's wild how expensive attending college is these days. I get that the education system operates on a business model, but my goodness, having a 18-year-old take out loans the size of a mortgage to pursue higher education is just crazy. But you know what? That's the system as it stands as of right now. However, I read an article the other day that showed more and more Gen Z folks are choosing to go into the trades or skip college altogether. And I can't say that I blame them. When going into the workforce can set them up for success at a younger age, and not everyone needs a degree for their path in life. Like, do you honestly need a bachelor's in English to become a barista at Starbucks? No, you probably don't. All right, so what are the assumptions that will be plugged into the financial model? We're going to play it conservative and round down the numbers, even though Hershey's data says otherwise. So we're going to assume the stock price will grow at a rate of 7% year over year, and the dividend growth rate will be 9% instead of 12%. Also, the 100 shares of Hershey that we start off with will be the only external contribution into the portfolio, which means the dividends will be reinvested into the portfolio to buy more shares. Does all of that sound good? By the way, the weather is finally warming up where I live, and it feels good to be biking on the roads again. Like today, I went on my first bike ride and it was phenomenal. If you've been thinking about using a bicycle to commute to work, do it. Take this as your sign. It's so much fun. I feel like a wee little lad again. So what happens after 20 years? Let's take a look at the annual dividend payout. In the first year, it's nothing to brag about, right? It's only $548 in dividends. But look what happens 10 years later. That dividend payout becomes $1,700. And then at the 20-year mark, it's $5,000. But at the end of the 20 years, the dividend payout becomes $6,000. It's a beautiful picture to see. And your total return on investment would be just shy of 650%. Please remember this number. It's important for later on in the video. 650%. Let's talk about the portfolio valuation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, this investment would have been $19,450, right? That's the portfolio valuation. But at the end of year 10, the portfolio would be $51 $161,000. And at the end of year 20, we're talking $145,000. Now, of course, by year 12, Hershey could go under and the company could become obsolete. But let's be real and honest with one another. Hershey is a dividend compounder with cheese, that Olive Garden cheese grater experience. It's a solid company. The before and after. After 20 years, your initial 100 shares would become 193 shares. The stock price would go from $194 a share to $750. The dividend yield should be around 4%. And the portfolio valuation, as we just discussed, yeah, it's a pretty picture. Going from 19,000 to about 145,000 sounds far-fetched, does it? Well, check this out. Remember how I told you to keep that 650% total return number in mind from the artificial 20-year forecast? Well, when we look at Hershey's past 20 years, from March 2004 to March 2024, the total return sits at 647%. So is it out of the question for Hershey to perform the same for the next 20 years? To hit a total return of 649%? Is it out of the realm of possibilities? You tell me, tough guy. Then again, past performance is not indicative of future gains. But when you zoom out and look at the valuation of Hershey right now, I feel like this might be the speed bump before they recover and rally next year. And if you want to know why I feel that way, then please watch my Hershey stock analysis video. Other than that, what do you think? How do you feel about Hershey? Maybe I'm delusional, maybe I'm stupid, but I think it's a great company. Anyways, I wish you good health and a good rest of your day, good sir. Dividend compounders with cheese, signing off. By the way, doesn't this burger just look absolutely delicious? Yes, I'm hungry and it's time for lunch.